Hello. That's right, folks. That's the intro music. So that means it's another episode of the Daily Crypto Byte. And today is Tuesday, August 24th. We got plenty to talk about today. Lots of price action, lots of news. So let's hop right into it. But before we do, CJ, John, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing well. I guess I'll say that we are right down to some of those support levels that you and CJ talked about. So all eyes on that to see whether or not it's just a little brief profit taking, and then we go right back to work pushing over 50 again, or whether if we don't hold, then obviously there are some lower numbers out there for us. I can't wait to hear what CJ says as far as the crypto rebel view.
Yeah, CJ's been highlighting some important levels for us here over the last couple of weeks, both Fibonacci levels and some Elliott wave levels. And CJ, it does look like we're kind of bouncing off one of those levels. You want to talk about that?
I would love to, Monty. I'm doing fabulous today, other than tuning in from construction hell. So yes, we had talked about this Elliott wave pattern all throughout last week, kind of starting at this bullish engulfing candle. And after yesterday's a little bit more bearish hammer candle, we are kind of coming down and starting to break from this formation. Not completely yet, but if we really look at these Fibonacci levels and how the trend has hit resistance thus far, we have had pretty sufficient difficulty on pretty much every one of these resistance levels. We've gotten through them, but it's taken multiple attempts, right? Like we came down here, that took about 3 to 4 days. Then we had about 5 to 6 days again of consolidation before breaking up into the newer channel. And so we are experiencing that right now. I don't think there's any cause for immediate alarm, especially with the equity market continuing to print new all-time highs today. Nevertheless, we are seeing a little bit of bearish momentum come down. And as a result of that, I'm not going to have a doge of the day to start. I'm just going to wait today and see what happens if we kind of pull back to other levels. But pass it back to you, gentlemen.
Very interesting. Well, Monty, I'd throw out that we're seeing more and more of these crypto exchanges like Voyager, like Coinbase, brokerages, as well as, because those are brokerages, as well as exchanges like FTX and Binance become billion-dollar companies and multi-billion-dollar companies. And the Financial Times, I'll tweet it out, but they were pushing out a story today about how these guys are generating, massive amounts of free cash flow in these businesses. So, for instance, FTX and Binance both are going to be well over $1 billion in profits this year. This, according to Eva Zlay, who's writing in the Financial Times today. So, I think any of you who have been following this are not that surprised. I think Kathy Woods is not surprised, but we will see more of this as crypto has been going mainstream. We're going to see more and more people opening crypto accounts. And I think last night I was with guys, I told these gentlemen already, Monty and CJ, the crypto rebels, that I was with the head of institutional sales over at Polygon down here in Puerto Rico last night. And just another fabulous success story over at Polygon. And I can't wait to hear more from Dean and from some of the folks that, just, you can't walk through San Juan, CJ, as you remember, without seeing Brock Pierce or one of the crypto guys or gals in either San Juan or Condado.
Yeah, it really has become the crypto capital of the world, John. So glad you're getting some boots on the ground there and meeting some awesome people. That's always good to hear. But I completely agree with your point there. We've seen some incredible moves being made. I think FTX has done a great job capitalizing on this current market cycle. I think their token, the FTT token, is one to definitely watch as well. And I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on this piece of news that broke this morning. Not really all that surprising or anything out of the ordinary. But once again, MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor have purchased some more Bitcoin, $177 million worth of Bitcoin at an average price of 45K. So as of yesterday, they hold approximately 108,992 Bitcoins, approximately $3 billion. So continuing to accumulate at MicroStrategy, I think that, this is just another instance of institutional accumulation. I think it's not surprising. They now own 0.5% of all the total Bitcoin. So, you can say what you want about MicroStrategy, but they've continued to accumulate, and I think it will really pay off in the long run. So good for them.
Yep, certainly great for them. Very interesting times that, I'm sure just weeks ago, people were laughing at him when he was buying more at, I think it was 34 and 35,000. And, I'm sure he had a bit of a last laugh, or at least not the last laugh because he didn't exit, but a bit of a laugh as it traded through 50 this week. Even though now today we're, 48 and change, guys, right now? Let me see. 48,575 right now I show for Bitcoin.
Yeah. Bitcoin, it seems like we're going to have a little bit of trouble getting above 50K here. That being said, we are seeing some assets perform very well today. One example of that is Avalanche, AVAX. That is up big today, continuing to climb as well. And CJ, I want to pose a question to you because this was a question that was asked in chat this morning, and I think it's a good one. It's about Cardano. Cardano has been one of the best performing assets of the last week. And, some people missed that train a little bit and looked to enter yesterday. Any thoughts on, where Cardano may go from here? Because it's kind of pulling back, retesting the upper Bollinger Band, which I know for you is typically an indication that, maybe you should consider exiting a long trade. Any thoughts you can provide to our audience on how you may play a Cardano position currently?
Yeah, I saw that Ada question. Excellent question. Obviously the Bollinger Bands are a really good guide for a trailing stop, but if they're not hit like perfectly, it's not the end of the world. The thing that I would be focused on with the utmost priority is watching the close very carefully today. If we see a large bearish engulfing candle at the top of an uptrend, it's typically very indicative that we've just seen like weakness in general. And we've had an incredible run here. We've really gone up in a lot of assets, and traders are in the short term are going to take profit. And I think we're going to see some interim swings as volatility continues to increase. So I would just watch for that bearish engulfing candle and really pay attention to the close today, because if that occurs, I kind of would think about considering being flat. But one thing I do want to share and add to the Bitcoin analysis has to do with funding rates, because we have had a little bit of a change ever since our rally has emerged. And so if we look at some of the Bitcoin futures perpetual funding rates across all exchanges, it paints an interesting picture here. Obviously, during the bull market phase where we are up at all-time highs, we had very high levels of funding in which traders are ultimately net long. Then we go into our accumulation period, selling climax right here, and the market gets pretty much net short. However, now we're flipping to that disbelief rally, and the majority of market participants are actually entering long. So what this means essentially, I think, is that traders who got in here obviously have made a lot of profit, and I do expect them to come off a little bit. Now, being said, I think that if we were to get something that would be like a worst case scenario, maybe a crash to say 45 or even 42K, that would hurt a lot of sentiment. But ultimately, I think that we're still likely to just enter something like a reaccumulation phase before pushing up higher going into the fall. So you know, I that's why I'm a little hesitant to share a Doge today, just because I'm a little uncertain how we're going to react to this resistance level, especially with the Bitcoin options expiration coming up this Friday. We'd always kind of wanted to watch that, but it's interesting. There's some interesting levels and interesting outcomes that I think could happen over the next couple of days.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely interesting. And I think Danny Armada in the chat here makes a really nice point. Given the amount of inflows we've seen from minor sell pressure, the market's actually holding up pretty well. And I think if you like take a step back and just kind of think about, from a miner's perspective, this market, it makes sense that we're going to experience a bit of profit taking as we kind of retest these critical levels because, that migration from China, a lot of miners, had to go offline and lose profitability during that window. And now that they turn their rigs back on, they've been able to mine during that accumulation period that CJ was just talking about. This is an ideal time for miners to be selling into market strength, into these critical levels. So yeah, I think that makes sense that we're staggering a bit, but overall, I'm very encouraged by the market strength that we're showing.
wow. Well, I am enthused about the continued embrace by traditional tech, even if they are cutting edge traditional tech like Square and PayPal, which I'll say are payment methods, and obviously have both embraced crypto. I noticed that PayPal is offering now the ability to trade Bitcoin through their apps in Great Britain. They've already done that in the United States, but of course, every jurisdiction is slightly different in what they allow. So I think this is something that's continuing this movement towards regular finance, even if they're cutting edge finance like Square and like PayPal, into the digital asset realm. And that's something that just expands the pie, guys. So I can't wait for more of this sort of thing. I know that a young guy like you guys, a young guy that I know that's working feverishly with Compound on a lending platform. So instead of just getting interest rate on your crypto, which you can do at Voyager, don't forget, Voyager sponsors the program. And if you go there, you can open a Voyager account and enter the code REBEL25, and you will not only get interest on your deposited crypto, but you'll trade crypto for free, 60 plus digital assets. And some of you will, in the not too distant future, be using things like what Voyager has created to never sell your crypto. The Winklevoss twins were saying that at Bitcoin Miami. I've been saying it for a long time, that the idea of selling Bitcoin or any of the coins you'd like to hodl, rather than just taking out a loan against it, is such a smarter way to go, because you're not creating that taxable event. In fact, you're even creating a deduction, because that loan interest, depending what you decide to use it for, that loan that is, can be tax deductible. So instead of having a taxable event, you have an event where you're using the leveraging that asset to not pay that tax that would otherwise be somewhat onerous, depending on what level you got in.
Yeah, absolutely, John. And I think that, the DeFi space in general and the utility we're seeing emerging from that space is just going to be, it's not, I feel like it's not, that important yet, but in the coming years, I feel like that's something that's going to become so popular, is that lending and borrowing model that you were just talking about. And, when the market's not ripping, I really think people will look to assets like Comp, and other yield farming assets to, make gains during a range bound market. So yeah, I'm in complete agreement there. But we are about 15 minutes in. I know, CJ, you don't have a Doge of the day today. How about you, Doc? Any altcoins that you're watching today?
I'm watching them, but I'm not trading them so much today. Sold a bunch of calls that hopefully will expire on Friday. We'll see whether or not they're worthless at the 50,000 strike or not. But boy, even though the vol was down, it was a pretty, just like CJ does, Monty. I love the ability to, push out in my trading account calls against my crypto and capture that. If this was Thursday, I'd be taking it off already. I wouldn't be holding it into the last hours of expiration. But since it's Tuesday and we're going to have 3 more full trading days, I will probably reduce some of it today and hold the rest into a little further into the week, my overwrite. So nope, not buying new ones right here.
Gotcha. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm excited to check back in with you tomorrow and Thursday to see how you're playing that position. So we'll be watching that closely. Thank you, Doc. In terms of Doge of the day, I agree with both of you. Right now is kind of a precarious time to be entering position, but there are some assets that I think are showing, some decent signs of strength. And one in particular that I wanted to showcase today is Hedera Hashgraph, H-bar. Let me quickly pull up that chart here. Because I'm just encouraged, more or less by the volume that I'm seeing here. Let me just pull up this chart. So where a lot of assets, are declining volume, this is still building volume. We are kind of flipping to some bearish volume here. This is a very doji-like candle. But the fact that, this 200 period SMA is steadily turning up, we've managed to remain above it, and the volume's building rather than turning down like we're seeing with a lot of other assets, to me is a relatively, good indication that this thing could potentially, pop to the upside if we get a continuation of this volume profile here. One other thing I wanted to quickly point out was just getting back to that ADA question. I think that the ADA chart looks actually very similar to what we're seeing in Luna, but just a few days earlier. So look what we saw here with Luna. Parabolic run up after, a relatively range-bound period of accumulation. Sharp run up, hit resistance at $31, rejected, had a 1 to 4 candle kind of correction here, and then continued to climb higher. Now compare that with ADA. I think this is something that, we could definitely see kind of play out here with ADA as well. We hit this strong resistance here at $3, having a day of correction as people take profit following this parabolic run up. But don't be surprised if we see some continued strength as traders continue to trade into this thing, because, there's still fundamental reasons to be bullish, technical reasons as well. So I wouldn't be surprised that if after, 1 to 3 days of a cooling down period, Cardano continues to rip, similar to what we saw in Luna. So those are kind of assets I'll be watching today, but that is about all I got.
Cool. Well, remember, guys, please do remember that CJ and Monty, the crypto rebels, are in the Market Rebellion crypto room 24/7. And if they're not, they've got their team in the room along with thousands of others. And if you would like to basically avail yourself of the same sort of expertise and multiple eyeballs on the thousands of cryptos that are out there, now is the time. Join for $1 for your first month, just $1 for your first month by going to marketrebellion.com/try crypto. And you can be in that room. If you don't think it's worth $1 after that month, first of all, I'll be shocked. But second of all, you will get some of the best charting packages in the business, as well as a number of really smart crypto traders. And I don't just mean our crypto rebels. I mean all of those people that CJ and Monty cite throughout this broadcast, as far as people that are putting up just really interesting insights into that crypto room. So check it out for $1, Market Rebellion/try crypto.
Yes, absolutely. We got some amazing members in there. And I just want to give a quick thank you to everyone that took some time to provide some feedback. We asked yesterday for some feedback for our new marketing director to work with, and a lot of you guys sent in some really awesome emails, and CJ and I just really appreciate that. So thank you so much. And like Jon mentioned earlier, thank you to Voyager for sponsoring this show. If you're looking for a broker, Voyager is the place for you. You can trade 60 plus digital assets commission free. Head over to investvoyager.com. You can earn up to 10% on USDC, which is a stable coin, and up to 12% on assets like DOT. So definitely go check that out for the most competitive interest rates in the industry. And if you sign up over there, use code REBEL25. You'll get $25 free in Bitcoin when you sign up. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Voyager for sponsoring this show. And we will be back tomorrow with another episode of the Daily Crypto Byte. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.